We notice a general theme in the Western Conference, and that is that there are a lot of questions in goal for all of these teams out west. When we look at the names that are going to be the starters for the Western Conference teams, how big a concern is that for these teams?
Well, it's the most important position, Rupper.
Right.
And to think that these are Stanley Cup worthy teams, but with maybe not exactly settled situation in the crease. And I mean, I think the one series you can say they're okay is Nashville-Dallas. I think both Bishop and Pekka Rinne have been pretty good. But other than that, down the list, Binnington, it might be experience. Mike Smith, Martin Jones, Marc-Andre Fleury might be injuries. Grubauer, tough performance last year. It'd be weird to be heading to the playoffs with that kind of team and be uncertain of your goaltending.
Yeah, and a couple of those uncertainties come from the injuries you just mentioned, whether Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be 100%, Ben Bishop. I mean, those are guys I feel completely comfortable with having between the pipes, but we don't know where their health is, and we don't know how it's going to be in sustained. So I think one of the biggest strengths in the East is probably the goaltending, the game changers they have in that position. But in the West, there's a lot of questions to be had, and I just don't think you don't win cups with mediocre goaltending. It very rarely ever happens.
Right.
So you're calling upon some goalies to really play above their, above their head in this situation.
And you look at the goalies that won the cups in recent memory, and some pretty well-known, established quantity goaltenders in Holtby. Now Murray is an aberration because his first year he won, he was young, he got called up, we weren't sure about him. Antiniemi, a bit of an aberration because he was playing for that great Chicago team, as was Chris Osgood with Detroit. Cam Ward, of course, a rookie. But more often than not, the teams that win the cup, the teams that go deep, are teams that have a tried, true, tested veteran starting goaltender in net. And in the West, with all these good teams, there's a lot of teams like hoping they get good performances from goalies that are capable of giving it, but they haven't been that consistent this year.
Do you think, though, that maybe that's why? Because there's some question when you're sitting there, and I had at the trade deadline time, is, well, why didn't Calgary do this? Or why didn't maybe San Jose just get a backup plan in this situation?
Ryan Miller.
Yeah, why didn't those things happen? But maybe they look across the board and they're like, this is kind of a vulnerable position for a few teams in the West, and maybe it's something that they weren't ready to do. But it'll be very interesting because the record shows that you need some pretty dang good goaltending to go deep in the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup.